local Doppler radar. The forecast for your area. On Friday, we'll have temperatures in the high 80s with morning showers. Expect fair skies on Saturday and Sunday.
I'm home, and I'm hungry.
How about your favorite ham sandwich?
Make your favorite sandwich with Off-the-Bone smoked ham.
All right, we won.
Let's eat.
Off-the-Bone kettle-cooked turkey is always a winner.
I'm famished.
Hot off-the-bone roast beef will warm you up. Who says lunch meat has to be cold? Hot, cold, or kettle-cooked? Off-the-Bone Homestyle Carved Lunch Meat makes a great sandwich for every season. Come home to Off-the-Bone Homestyle Carved Lunch Meat.
Look for Off-the-Bone Homestyle Carved Lunch Meat at your neighborhood grocery.
Weather Channel. Wake up with Al and your weather today. Weekday mornings from 6 to 11 on the Weather Channel. And now, your local on the 8s.
Currently, the temperature is 80 degrees under partly cloudy skies. The National Weather Service has issued a weather bulletin. Our local Doppler radar. Your forecast. Your extended forecast.
Well, as the sun sets on beautiful Cape Hatteras Island here, tomorrow night, certainly the next 24 hours bring some interesting things into play. Will the Outer Banks take a direct hit from Hurricane Earl, or will we just get brushed? And even if we do, we can promise you some impacts. We'll talk about those and talk about how they're handling it here with the County Commissioner coming up in just a moment.
Hi, everyone, and welcome in and welcome back. Thanks so much for staying with us. Half past the hour on Weather Center. I'm Alexandra Steele.
And I'm Carl Parker. If you're just joining us tonight, we have some very important news about Hurricane Earl.
All right, it is now Category 4 hurricane, 135 mile per hour sustained winds. Hurricane advisories have been issued from North Carolina through Massachusetts, and in Massachusetts, hurricane watches are posted for the Cape and Islands. Hurricane watches, of course, mean the potential for hurricane conditions are possible within 48 hours.
And there's the satellite picture. This is a very well-formed storm, as you can see. There's a look at the stats for you right now, moving off towards the northwest, 17 miles an hour. A very well-defined eye there. And there is our forecast track, the center of which is still offshore, but the impacts are likely to be significant nonetheless there in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And let's go live now to Jim in Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. Jim, evacuation orders there tonight. You had an amazing story earlier. You'd think that everyone would know everything about the storm there in the Outer Banks. You said that wasn't the case.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, I talked to like 4 people in a row, 4 residents, and they didn't know that the storm was a 4. They didn't know that there was a mandatory evacuation either. So, I mean, that definitely has me a little concerned. I showed you those houses, guys. I was going to show you again, but we'll do that next time. Anyway, let me show you where we are, first of all, and we'll get into this a little bit later on. Nothing's boarded up around here from what I've seen. As far as the eye can see, I don't see anything that's got any boards on it, and these are multi-million-dollar homes. But here we are, guys, pretty much sitting right on the end of the ocean, the end of the East Coast out here on a barrier island, and obviously open to whatever Mother Nature and the usual temper tantrum called tropical season has in store for us. Here is the timeline. I told you I was going to talk about this. It is really a 12-hour period, I believe, after or around midnight Thursday, Friday morning, going through the day on Friday, probably the worst of it ending by about 10 a.m. on Friday morning here. That could change either way. It could go as far as noon or possibly a little bit beyond that, but we'll just have to wait and see. But the greatest impacts will certainly be winds, which could gust to hurricane force, not to mention south side flooding as the winds shift around from the northeast. We're expecting as much as 3 to 6 foot surge to come in that way. Let's talk to Alan Burris, who's the Dare County the Dare County Commissioner. There we go. I'm thinking of Sandy, who we just had to blow off on the phone, by the way, your buddy. Let's talk about this. We get an evacuation, mandatory evacuation tonight, but yet it doesn't actually go officially into effect until tomorrow morning.
That's correct. The reason, whatever reason, they met today and they opened it up at 5 in the morning. That's pretty much what Ocracoke did yesterday for this morning.
Right.
They opened it up at 5 in the morning, had a mandatory.
So how many people are we talking about here, residence-wise? Anthe, Avon, Buxton, etc.
At this time of year, you're probably talking about 8,000 at the most.
8,000 residents?
Yes.
Do you think people would heed this, or are you going to have to go door to door tomorrow?
Well, I'm sure that they'll spend some time with the fire departments and stuff out notifying everyone, but mostly people here are used to what's occurring, and will probably, a great majority of them, stay here.
Right. We haven't seen one like this in a long time, though.
I don't disagree, but actually 6 years ago, Isabel, we had it up here, and that was pretty bad.
All right.
And so they're pretty aware of what can happen, but when you're prepared and you do the best you can do to make things work, and in this particular case, if it brushes us or direct hit, most of the wind's going to come out of the north. You were just mentioning the sound side flooding.
Right.
So the front of these houses, like we're seeing, they're not bothered with them. They've worked on the sound sides, getting things up and that type of stuff.
That's just if it misses us. Alan, I got to cut you off, unfortunately.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Again, guys, Alan Burris, the county commissioner here in Dare County, talking about certainly some of his concerns as we go forward here. I want to bring in Brian Norcross, and he's our hurricane specialist, and talk a little bit about where he thinks this thing is going to go. And Brian, we've seen now for the second day in a row a shift to the west of the track. Does this thing have another surprise in it? Could it continue to shift west?
Absolutely. I mean, the difference between a catastrophic event there and just a bad event is so fine. I mean, folks, listen to this. Think about this. You're not sure about the weekend forecast, so don't count exactly on where the models are saying. The models are keeping it just offshore of Cape Hatteras, the center of the storm. But this is a big storm, so it's going to be felt on Cape Hatteras. So the models are counting on the nose of this high being shaped like that. The nose of the high might be 50 miles to the west. You just don't know. And then we get into the question, when it really starts going, of where this upper air flow is going to be and what that angle is going to be, and we can't forecast those things absolutely perfectly. So the bottom line here is that the average errors in these things are in the 50 mile to 100 mile range at this point, and obviously that includes a direct hit on Cape Hatteras or perhaps offshore and only a glancing blow, but significant weather, no doubt. All right, that's it.
All right, thanks, Brian. Well, still to come, details on where the newest advisories have been posted for Earl.
And our live team coverage continues. Hey, Eric.
That's right, the sun is setting on what was a perfect day here in Chatham. Hard to imagine what might be by the end of the week. Haven't seen a direct hit since Bob in 1991. A similar situation, not completely out of the question. We're going to have much more on the forecast and what might be in store on Weather Center.